Hello and welcome to Zoom TV. I'm Parul Sharma and I hope you and your loved ones are safe and well. Today I have with me the stellar cast of the upcoming web show Mumbai Diaries 2611. Please join me in welcoming Natasha Bhardwaj, Mohit Raina, Mrunmayee Deshpande and Satyajeet Dubey. Hi guys, how's everyone doing?
Hi,
Very
good.
good,
How are
thank
you?
you.
So diving right in, as we know, Mumbai Diaries is a show that's a medical show based on the devastating terrorist attacks of 2611 that took place in Mumbai, right? I want to start off by asking you guys if you all remember exactly where you were and what you were doing on that day and when the news broke.
In 2009, I was in Bombay. There was this place called Chakala in Andheri East. I used to live over there. I was in my second year college, and I had my dinner in the mess downstairs. And I came up, and all of a sudden, we got to know don't step out of your place, because at that point of time, nobody knew what exactly is happening. Whether it's a gang war or who's shooting who, it was not clear.
Right.
And the atmosphere was really tensed. It was extremely gloomy, and the next 3 days, we all know how it all unfolded. But the spirit of Mumbai is something which we all look up to.
Right.
And that's what the show is all about.
I was in Pune. So, I think I was in my college when the news came, and then we all were worried about Mumbai, obviously. And there are so many relatives who stays nearby. I remember calling them and asking them whether they are safe, whether they're at home, is there anyone near VT station or in Taj by any chance, but they all were safe. And yeah, it's the memory is, I mean, I don't want to remember that whole thing because it is stressful. It took so much from us, and yeah.
Absolutely.
But I was in Pune, so I was little away from all the chaos.
Right.
Yeah.
What about you?
Well, I think irrespective of the fact wherever we were physically present, I think when anybody we came to know that the Mumbai was under siege, and a place which is a memorial place like Taj Palace, which is goes back in mid-90s, you know, so when it was taken under siege, I think everybody was taken aback and we were all shell-shocked. Nobody ever thought that Mumbai, a city which spirit is, you know, give an example of, I don't think anybody expected it to happen. And that too continuously for 72 to 100 hours. So I think, yeah, it is something that whoever has witnessed it or heard it or seen it will never forget.
Right.
It's true.
That is so true. That because, yeah, we all look up to the
Brilliantly
spirit
put,
of Mumbai and how Mumbai never sleeps. And that night was actually extremely terrifying. I was probably in the 7th or the 8th grade. And I don't know why this is funny.
You know, she's time again making us realize that I am really a junior and you guys are senior.
No, I'm not doing
So the first interview she started with, I was in 4th class, then he came
No,
to 6th
I'm
class, and right now she's on 8th.
Guys, can we just do the math? I was born like 1997. So in 2008, how old was I?
Acha.
I was in the 7th, so
I'm
basically.
like really bad at math, so you're gonna have to tell me that.
So we believe in
Let's
you.
come back to the
Let's believe that you were in
Yeah, let's believe
7th,
that.
11 years old.
Done. Let's go with
Still a
that.
toddler.
So, but no, I mean, it was, I mean, when I was really small at that time, and all I knew that it was like a really fearful atmosphere that had gotten created around all of us. And actually, my mom is a doctor, and she was working in one of the hospitals in town, and the commute from town to my place is probably like an hour. And I remember she called me before she left, and then she was in the transit, and there were all these scares that there might be explosive material even in the trains.
Right.
And that completely got to me because my mom was traveling by train at that time, and it took her 3 hours to reach, and I couldn't get through to her. And those 3 hours were the most horrific times of my life, because you instantly think of the first bad thing, especially when such a deadly situation is in the atmosphere. Absolutely. So she reached home after 3 hours, and I was just counting my stars that she's okay and safe and home. But yeah, that was my memory, and it still is extremely heart-wrenching.
This show must then be really, really personal to you. And
Oh, absolutely,
Yeah, and it must
absolutely.
really have struck a chord.
Yeah.
So, taking off from there, a war was fought on 26/11, I would say. And much in the same way, I think the world has been at war for the past year and a half, right? The difference being that one was against deadly ammunition and this one has been against a deadly virus. But in both the cases, frontline healthcare workers and professionals have been there at the forefront fighting that fight. Now that you guys have sort of done the show and kind of gotten a glimpse at the very real lives and struggles of doctors and healthcare professionals, I want to know what are your biggest takeaways from Mumbai Diaries?
This is a series which has the perspective that Amazon and that Mr. Nikhil Advani, who's the captain of this show, is trying to do is showcase the story through the perspective of the medical fraternity.
Right.
So when we talk about war, I think what happened that particular night or for the 3-4 days, it has been explored through defense perspective, through hospitality perspective, and all other perspectives, but not through medical perspective.
Right.
And what we have realized personally in the last year or so is how important and how respectful we should be to our medical fraternity and what we owe to them.
Absolutely, exactly.
They all should get a bravery award for their act of valor. This is what I firmly believe in. My takeaway, what you asked, would be it is my, I would say, request to the society and to everyone who's watching it, we need to start respecting them more. And we really need to understand what they go through, and it is, they say you learn lessons the hard way. So people have realized that in the last 2 years. I don't want that people have to go through this, what they have gone through. But we should not forget it because our memory is really short. Human beings' memory is really short. We tend to forget things.
Absolutely.
So I just hope and pray that we don't forget their contribution, what they have done. So, and be thankful and respectful towards them.
Yeah.
I think nowadays also we hear so many news that people are beating them up, beating the doctors for not saving or having some different opinion in their mind about the doctors. So I think after watching the series, they should get the bigger side or a different side of doctors, like what they have to go through for that on that particular night, and usually what they have to go through. They have to keep their worries, their sorrows, their feelings aside, and then they really have to focus on one thing, that saving that person in front of him or her. So that is something. And then how they fought, how they gathered their courage, and that is what I learned from them. I learned bravery. I learned courage from the series.
I think just to add to that, I think it's such a thankless job sometimes for, our medical fraternity or even our frontline workers, because we are not personally going through it. We are probably in our houses or in a relatively more comfortable space. They are out there, they are doing the job, and they are considered the closest to God, but they are human beings. And I think when I say we, I mean society, we just tend to forget that the human beings, they're leaving everything aside and taking care of what they can to their maximum potential. Because I think the spirit, the courage that a doctor has, it is beyond. I think you cannot fathom that. We as actors took a couple of workshops and we had to get used to the fact that we have prosthetics and blood around us. They work day in, day out. They smell that, they know it. We walk into a hospital and we feel the eeriness. We feel that, okay, there's a certain environment that's created which is you kind of sink in your heart. And like a big, big salute to each and every medical staff that's out there, because it is a thankless job. And I think, even like Mohit has said, they should actually be given awards, and not only awards, they should genuinely be respected, because they can only do that much. And I think that is extremely important to understand that.
Absolutely. Satyajeet,
Immense amount of gratitude, immense amount of respect, admiration and gratitude. because unfortunately last year during the first wave of COVID, I saw my mom, getting hospitalized, and she was, thank God, she's back now. She's much better. But she was admitted to Nanavati, and I saw what was the condition out there. And as she said, it was eerie, it was heartbreaking. People were fighting to get in. So, through this show, I just hope people get a glimpse of, you're a journalist, you're doing your job, but behind that profession, there's a person with flesh and blood and emotions and anxieties and fear.
Absolutely.
A doctor is nothing less. You invested your 6, 7, 5, 10 years to understand, but the whole life you're practicing.
Yeah.
You use the term practice,
practice.
right? Now, through this show, I just hope people just get a glimpse of the fact that they are going through their own issues, their own anxieties, their own fears, and they're trying to be immune towards that and still help out people as much as they can. So there has to be some amount of consideration towards that. And I think we are extremely privileged that somehow we are getting an opportunity to represent the community
Right.
of doctors, all the medical fraternity in totality.
Correct, very true.
Absolutely. So just to sum it all up, if you could all give me a few lines just to dedicate to our professional frontline healthcare workers.
Just thank you, because I think these words are most powerful, and it shows your gratitude towards them. So it's thank you.
Yeah. I think आप लोगों के जज्बे को सलाम. आप लोग जो कर रहे हैं वो भगवान के बाद अगर कोई आता है तो those are doctors, and we are nothing without you. And in all the more in past 2 years we understood what the medical fraternity and the doctors and the hospitals they stand for. So my heartfelt gratitude, love and respect.
So I'm going to try to steer us to a slightly lighter atmosphere now.
Are you going to ask us questions about medical procedures?
No.
Then we are going to go.
I'm not. So we're going to play a fun game. It's going to be called Mumbai Diaries because I'm a very original person and I thought of that all by myself. So we're going to talk about your Mumbai Diaries, your experiences and your best memories about our beloved city, right? Feel free to chime in on each other's answers and just kind of get into it.
Natasha is all set.
Yeah, you may proudly display your handbag for this. Okay, so one personal story to do with Mumbai that left an impact on you, something that you haven't told the public before. We can keep it like quick.
Okay, immediately I'll go. It was my third day, rapid fire.
I love it.
तीसरे दिन, it was my third day in Mumbai. I was catching a fast local from Jogeshwari to town because I was figuring out the online होता नहीं था ना, तो college to college you fill the form with your 12th का mark sheet. I remember I couldn't understand the difference between the fast and the slow local, so I jumped on the fast local and I couldn't get inside, so I was literally ऐसे में लटका हुआ था. And एक दो बार बाहर आया. By the time I reached Bandra, वो अंदर से एक force आता है and that pushes you.
Yes.
And I'm
We're
not
all
kidding.
aware of this force.
I'm not kidding. अभी भी मैं, if I talk about it, I'll get goosebumps. My life completely, it flashed in front of my eyes. No, it's not funny because
I know.
Because I could see the platform was away, and my hands were like, वो एक edge होता है which you hold, and I was holding something like that. For a fraction of a second, I lost it. I was literally in the air for a fraction of a second. Somebody held me from my collar and pulled me back. I'm not kidding. After that, I was sitting on the platform shaking for almost 30 minutes. And so, I don't know who that person was. So, thank you, Bombay, for saving my life. And see, I'm
The goosebumps are back.
I remember जब मैं पहली बार मुंबई आई थी, basically I'm from Pune, so my serial was, I was shooting for my serial, and then taxi में बैठ के ऐसे जा रही थी और वो dreamy पूरा vibe था मेरे लिए, first time entering into Mumbai, सपनों का शहर है, और मैंने ऐसे टैक्सी से बाहर मुंह निकाला जैसे फिल्मों में दिखाया जाता है, एंड देन आज मैं यहाँ पे कुछ बनने आई हूँ, एक दिन ऐसा होगा जब यहाँ पे मेरे बोर्ड्स लगेंगे, एंड आई एम होपिंग कि शायद जब वो लगेगा तो देन
That must have been printed in your
but
memory.
that's my first memory with Mumbai.
That's lovely.
Looking all about you.
Well, I have nothing else but gratitude to give to this city which has given me each and everything. There have been good moments, there have been bad moments, but this city has given me everything. But right now I can only remember an incident where we were going through the floods in Mumbai, and I had to spend, unfortunately, 3 days at a coffee shop in Bandra because there was no. We couldn't commute because we were in floods at that point of time. So there were strangers helping and providing food and beverage and everything to people who were stranded on the road. And I was at a coffee shop, I remember, in Carter Road, Bandra. So all those strangers and everything, strangers coming and helping each other.
Spirit of Mumbai.
That spirit of Mumbai.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So I think I only have gratitude towards the city.
Absolutely. Natasha, what about you?
I'm from Bombay, so born and brought up here. So I think there are just so many things that I come across or I do as a Bombay girl. But I think the one thing that was really life-changing for me is we all practice gratitude in terms of saying it out there and putting it out in the universe. But I think in this pandemic, like I mean, even before this, I would go around, feed the dogs and all that. But this time in the pandemic, my mother just taught me a completely different kind of gratitude, I feel. We were out there giving food and chai for watchmen and everyone, because in a way, they are also on the front line.
Definitely.
They are there.
Definitely.
Their chai walas, their telas
Yeah.
are shut. There are no shops that are open. How are they going to get their tea? It's a very small
They're
thing.
keeping the city going.
Yeah,
really.
they're keeping the city going. They are. They actually are. And they're, they're awake and we're asleep.
Yeah.
Or they're probably asleep. But, it's a very taxing job. And, on a very humanitarian level, just, being there for people and, sometimes being there can be physically being there for someone or, maybe a phone call, but for them, just like giving them a chai, giving them, biscuits and, providing for them and understanding what their needs are. So I think just that entire experience was extremely gratifying for me, so yeah.
Nice. Favorite Mumbai eating joint? Go.
I'm currently obsessed with The Method. It's a coffee shop in Bandra. It's got the most amazing cinnamon rolls and coffee.
Okay.
This is a vada pav stall that I really like in Four Bungalows, Model Town. So yeah, that is my favorite.
Okay. Mrunmayee, what about you?
Mirchi and mine.
Oh, I love that place.
Mirchi.
Natural's ice cream.
Tender coconut?
And Haji Ali ka Sitafal.
Cream. Oh my god.
Nice.
Guys,
Okay.
can we please get that?
Favorite hangout spot in Mumbai?
You can start.
I used to live in Carter Road, so we used to hang out there constantly. Yeah, beautiful place.
That's your favorite. Okay.
भाई मेरा घर से बाहर निकलने को होता नहीं है, ट्रैफिक बहुत है, तो घर पे आ जाओ, मजे करते हैं. Like my house.
Joggers Park, Bandra.
Hangout spot, I don't think I have a... I keep shifting from one place to the other. I like exploring new places, so it's never like one constant place. But
Right.
yeah, a coffee shop is always my go-to.
Your favorite person in Mumbai?
My mom. The most favorite person. The most favorite person.
Yeah,
Favorite person?
I think my maid, my bai, who's been with me for years, I've been seeing her since like 10, 14 years now. So I think she's one of my favorite persons.
Oh, that's it.
I think from Mumbai, my husband Swapnil, the Bombay boy, he'd kill you if you say it. So he's my most favorite person.
What about you?
Obviously, my mom. She lives with me here now. And if she's living in Bombay, that means she is Bombay and she's from Mumbai. So
Fair.
my mother, yeah.
Fair enough. I heard you humming before we started this shoot. So now you're stuck.
What?
Favorite tune to do with Mumbai? You can just give me a line and you can all join in. Fas gaye, shouldn't have sang before we started.
Na 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 na.
You can say the words also.
Na 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 na.
Thank you so much for joining me, guys. This was an absolute pleasure and good luck to all of you.
Thank you so much.
So much.